This will be about a 45-minute practice um, based in a chair, your kitchen chair, dining room chair, foldable chair. All of those work well. Do with what you have. Everything in this class will be an invitation. It's optional, meaning listen to your body and allow your actions to be based from what feels not necessarily best for you, but feels like your preferred choice. Know that you have permission to do whatever you want to do. There are many yoga classes, many styles of yoga where you are working towards something specifically, right? Like your arms need to be at 90-degree bends. That's not this class. This class is more so simply focused on moving your body, getting in touch with your body, noticing how you feel physically, noticing your inner workings, your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, and taking good care of yourself. Maybe you even think of this as like a friendly practice, being friends with yourself. So listening to what you need, what you want, and basing your action on that. Let's do this. So grab your chair if you have not already. I put a little blanket in my chair. You might do that if you find that you just want a little cushion. And so then have your feet on the floor, and you might even scoot forward in your chair just a little bit. And so your feet are firm on the ground, and there's this bend in your knees, and you might start to just sway. Swaying just a little bit in a way to get your body settled into this seat. Often when we sit in a chair, we don't necessarily use our spine, our body to hold ourselves up. And so here the invitation is to press a little bit down through your feet and use that as stability, maybe feeling like you got a little bit taller through your core and your spine. Maybe, to a nice little trick, you can put your hand on the top of your head and press up into it. And maybe, just maybe, you might feel like you lengthen through your core, the sides of your body. Let your hand go, but maintain that height. And for a moment, just pay attention to your breathing. Notice your breath. Feeling the breath at the tip of your nose. Feeling your breath at your chest, your belly, maybe feeling a little bit of subtle movement as you breathe. And gently invite in a deeper breath, taking in a little more air as you breathe in, and breathing out fully, letting the air go. A few of those, breathing in fully and fully releasing the air out. In a sense, being mindful or intentional about your breathing. Right? Because breathing always happens. We breathe when we don't even think about it. But here we'll start to think about our breath and think about it as a way to cultivate maybe some calm. Or simply that it's your anchor. Focusing on your breath can help you stay present here, as opposed to the mind wandering and doing all the things that the mind does. And keeping with that soothing breath, the slow breath, start to sway left and right. Just a little bit going side to side. Slowly come back into stillness. And start to come forward a little bit. Now rocking forward in your pelvis and back. You can even have your hands on your hips so you can feel your pelvis as it tilts forward. and rocks back. Just a small movement getting into the low back and the hips. Slowly come back to stillness and come back to that sway side to side. Your hands can be wherever you'd like to place them. You might let this sway get a little bit bigger, and so lifting up a hip when you go to a side, lifting up the other side. Might even feel natural to come up onto the heel of that foot, or rather lift the heel of that foot. Maybe not. Coming back to stillness in your chair. Noticing again your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Let your chin tuck in towards your chest. Just let your head hang heavy. Find small no-like movement, letting your head go left and right. As you do that, see if you can let your focus rest in the back side of your neck, up to your head. Noticing the sensations, perhaps feeling some tension falling away, releasing. Keep your head where it is, but let the movement stop. Slowly lift your head back up to neutral and just pause for a moment. Notice how it feels in your neck. Bringing your arms by your side, start to just twist your wrists. So maybe another way to look at it is palms forward and then back. And notice how this actually isn't in your wrist, it's all the way up into your shoulders. Finding some subtle movement. If this class had a theme, it would be not necessarily effortlessness, but moving without a lot of force. So somewhere in between giving some effort, yet not being forceful. So not forcing the body into like the deepest variation of anything. Rest your hands in your lap. Bring your hands forward just a little bit, maybe closer towards your knees, and lean forward just a little bit. And then use your hands like you're doing a push-up, come back up to seated. And do that a few times, leaning forward just a little bit. Coming back up to seated. Tilting yourself forward, using your hands as stability. Pressing yourself up slowly. So we're not folding really deeply. It's not going for, again, the deepest, most possible thing. It's more so just noticing and listening to your body. Just one or two more. And whenever it happens, whenever you're forward, stay there. Take just a few deep breaths. If your shoulders are hiking out towards your ears, see if you can soften. Slowly come back up to seated and pause. Let your hands come by your sides and start to just almost like rock your arms forward and back. If you can, see if you can let your shoulders be heavy so they're not doing a ton of work. As you rock your arms, you might start to gain a little height, so lifting your arms a little further up. Maybe they go up towards your shoulders. Some of you might want to reach even further up. You choose your own speed. As you lift, notice what you feel through the sides of your body. Notice how it's not just the arms that you're tapping into right now. Maybe you feel something around your rib cages or underneath your arms. The next time your arms are lifted, stay there. Stay there with arms lifted. Could be by your shoulders, up higher. Float your arms slowly back down. Shake your wrists soft. Soft movement. Your hands can come back towards your legs, resting, maybe in the chair. Moving into our legs a little bit more. Straighten a leg, either one. And for a moment, just move your leg left and right, the straight one. Let it stop wherever it just feels okay to rest. The focus will be on your other leg, the bent leg. So hands might go around your chair, or you could have your hands on the leg that your knee is bent. And no matter which variation you take, what you'll do is lean forward just a little bit and come back up. So this is fairly similar to what we were doing when both knees were bent. So now it's just going over one knee. Tilting forward and coming up. Take a few more of these. Get curious about how it feels in your body, how it might change from when you lean forward and you're seated upright. The next time you find yourself leaning over your knee, your leg, stay there. And again, hands might be on your knee, gently pressing down for stability, or perhaps you prefer them to be on your chair. Slowly come back up to seated. And we'll focus now on the straight leg, whichever leg you have straight. Bend slightly into the knee and then press forward. So your leg still stays on the ground, but now you're actively pressing through your heel. When you do that, you might notice that the toes come kind of back towards your shin, or they're facing back towards you. Maintain that press, pressing through your heel as you bend into the knee a little bit, and then press again, straightening your leg. Pulling back, so bending into the knee, and pushing forward. A few more of these. Pulling back, pushing forward. You might even add the hands to help you. Pulling back, pressing forward. Pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, and hold. You could keep your hand and now press your hand away as well. Or you could rest your hand on your leg wherever it falls. You choose. What would you prefer? Here for 3, 2, 1. Rest your hand if it was up, and I'll move your leg a little left and right. Moving left and right. Bring that leg back like we've been doing. Start to rock left and right. Maybe lifting a hip up or not. A little bit more sway. Extend your other leg, whichever leg was not straight the first time. Straighten it. Rest your hand either on the bent knee leg, or you can wrap your hands around the chair. Make your choice and then begin to rock forward. Come up. So bending over just a little bit over the bent leg and coming up. Let this other leg, your straight leg, be soft and relaxed. Moving at your own pace. The next time you are forward, leaning over your leg, stay there. Again, hands might be on your leg, maybe they're on the chair. You get to choose. If you ask yourself, what's your preference? Can you give yourself that? There's nothing you should be doing here. Slowly come up to seated. Focusing now on your straight leg. Begin to press through the heel. So there's not a lot changing except for you might feel the whole leg engaged, the muscles flexing. Keep pressing through the heel as you bend into the knee and then press forward. So again, tapping into that press and pull. So pulling back, still pressing through the heel, pushing forward. Pulling, pushing. Maybe doing the hand motion of pulling back, pressing or pushing. Pulling, pushing. And here what you're doing is both strengthening and lengthening your hamstring, the back side of your leg. The next time you extend or straighten, stay there. You might press through that same side arm or rest your arm, depending on your personal preference. For 3, 2, 1. Rest your arm. Move your leg left and right, left and right. Bring your knee back up. Start to roll onto your toes, back down to flat feet. Doing that a few times, coming high on your toes, coming back down to your feet. Lift to your toes, maybe some snaps and pops. Lower your feet down. Again, coming high onto your toes. Maybe come even higher onto your toes. Slowly come down to your feet. Now doing the opposite. Lift your toes off the ground just a little bit. Bring your feet down. Rock up high onto your toes. High on your toes. Lower down to the heels. Lift the toes. Only on the heel of your foot now. One more time. High onto the toes. Lower down. Lift toes. Rest on the heels. Hold that for 3, 2, 1, and let it go. Start to come forward just a little bit, leaning over your knees. Come back up. Hands can stay on your knees, let your thighs, let your knees go out and in. You might even take your feet a little bit wider. Let your knees go out and in. Out and in. A few more times, getting into your hips. Now keep your legs slightly wider and lean forward again. Slowly, like you're doing a push-up, press yourself back up and walk your feet back to where they were. Press down gently through your feet. See if you can feel taller and more stable through your core, your spine. And begin to lift your arms up again, lifting and lowering. Lifting them up, maybe it's shoulder height, maybe higher. Lifting and lowering. The next time your arms are lifted, stay there. You might look up towards the gaze of your hands. Lower your hands down. Bring hands to your lap and lean forward. Press yourself out to seated and reach up. Rest your arms down. Beginning to find almost like these seated sun salutations. Hands can be in your lap as you lean forward. And press yourself up. Then reach with your arms. Resting and lowering your arms. Leaning forward. Coming up. Reaching the arms. Lowering the arms. Lean forward over your legs. Come back up. Rest here for a moment. Exploring some repetitive movement as a way to give your mind something to do, something to focus on. Let's do about 2 more. Reach up with your arms. Continue to press down through your feet. Rest your arms. Lean over your legs. Coming up. Lift your arms. You might start to explore this by your breath. You might notice you take one whole movement for a full breath. Lean forward. And the other part of your breath, another movement. So sometimes it's strictly inhale to lift your arms, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen like that. You don't have to micromanage the breath in this practice. Lean forward. Lean back. But as you move, you might notice what the breath is naturally doing. Rest the arms. Or see what it is like if you move with your breath. Back. And pause here. Bring either knee up towards you. So it could be lifted a lot or a little. Your hands could go behind your thigh or in front of your shin. For some of you, your foot will barely lift off the ground. For some of you, your knee might go closer towards your chest. There is no right or wrong. There's no should. Simply lift your leg and notice where it kind of hits the brake. It'll let you know typically when enough is enough. And maybe even from that, see if you can let go a little bit more. Right? Remember, not forcing. With your leg up, wherever it is, you could find some movement in your ankle. Perhaps finding circles in your ankle. You could do that. Or you could move your leg, your bent leg, left and right. Any type of movement that you just feel like you'd like to try, might be helpful, you can try. Let your leg rest and pause. Maybe even use your hand to move that leg left and right. Maybe it's both legs. Finding the other leg. So it's going to lift. I'm not sure where it'll lift. Find out where your leg wants to lift to and how you'd like to support your leg. Maybe it's hands underneath your knee. Maybe it's in front of your shin. It might take some experimenting to find which way you want to do it. And that's okay. Once you've found your choice, your variation of this, stay there. You could explore some movement, right? Moving into the ankle, maybe any circular movement. Maybe moving the leg. By moving the leg, you're finding a little movement in your hip. And I don't know about you, I can speak for myself. I've been quarantined for a month and I've been sitting a lot more than usual. And so when that happens, when we sit a lot, our hips get tight, the muscles contract. Let your leg go. Slowly bring it down. And if you'd like, use your hand to move your leg, or just simply move the leg. Could even be both. Adding on essentially what we've been doing, bringing it together. There will be an option to stand up. Know that you don't have to do it. You could stay in the seated variation, and I'll give you those options as it unfolds. So again, lifting your arms and lowering them down. Lean forward over your legs. Now reach forward as you lean forward. Keep your arms up as they are as you come up to seated. Let your arms go down. Reaching up through your arms. Lowering. Lean forward over your legs. Reach your arms forward. Slowly coming up. Let your arms float down. And pause. So that's the first variation, where if you don't want to stand up, you'll continue doing that. The other option would be to press yourself up to seated. This is what that would look like. Lifting the arms as we've been, and lowering the arms. Leaning forward, reaching the arms, pressing down to the feet and standing up. Arms could stay lifted as you bend into your knees, slowly your hips meeting your chair. You might be like me and miss your chair. Bring your arms down. If you were like me, then scoot back a little bit. Lift your arms and lower. Bring your hands forward and lean. You could stay here. And reach your arms forward. If you'd like, you could stand up, press up. If you're afraid of missing your chair, you could turn back just a little bit and look as you slowly sit back down. Press your hips back and come up. Know that the standing part is an option. Lean forward. Doing this just one more time. Come up to seated. Reach up through your arms. Relax your arms. Lean forward. So there's like 3 options here. You could stay here. Maybe you stay seated, but you reach your arms forward. Those are the first 2 options. If you'd like, stand up. And sit down. If you were standing, again, you can look at your chair. Come back. Lean forward a final time. Press yourself up to seated and pause. Notice your heart rate. Notice how your body is feeling. It's time to slow it down even more. Slowing down for a brief meditation. You get to choose how you place your body just as you have been. For some of you, that might mean staying in the chair but getting a little more comfy. I mean, you can sit back or you can stay as you were. Some of you might like to lay down. I'll offer an option that people tend to really enjoy. It is laying down though. And so if you're listening to this and your thought is like, no way, if I lay down, I'm never going to get back up. Good. You know that you're a no for this. And so don't do it. But if you're curious and would like to try, you can try. If it doesn't feel right, then you can come out of it and instead sit or lay in a different way. So if you want to try, it's essentially legs up your chair. If you have a blanket, that could be really helpful to rest under your head. Your chair will be away from you. You'll be resting the back sides of your legs on the seat of the chair. So you'll need some space to lay down. Get down however that happens. Maybe you use a chair or a table or something to help you get down. Take your time. Once you're down, you're going to bring each leg to the back of the chair. Again, however that happens. And again, know that it's just an option. If you know you want to lay down or sit, then go ahead and just find your way there. If you're trying this, take your time slowly laying all the way down. If you have a blanket or a really thin pillow, you might put that underneath your head. If you're taking this option, back side of your knees is touching the chair so that your legs are relaxed. No matter where you decide to rest, start to settle in even more. You might choose to keep your eyes open. Maybe you close them. Allow your body to now simply take up space. There's nothing to do other than to just rest. Let your body be however it is. You might even think about a time you felt really restful or comfortable. Notice how that feels to even remember a comforting time or place. Allow your focus to go back to your breathing. Allowing your focus to go back to your breathing as a way to anchor, as a way to be present right here where you are. Often when we slow down our physical bodies, it might feel like that the mind is then going even faster. Or maybe it's now that we've slowed down that we're simply aware that the mind has been racing to many thoughts and many things, making mental to-do lists, whatever it is. By paying attention to your breath, you give your mind something to do, and that might be helpful for this stillness, this resting practice. So you might let your awareness rest in your breath. Simply noting as the breath comes in And as the breath goes out, noticing the breath as it flows in and flows out. You might even give your breath the phrasing. So as you breathe in, internally saying, breathing in. And as you breathe out, internally saying, breathing out. Only if that feels helpful. You don't have to practice that. You might notice the mind wander at any point. It's okay. Rather than judging yourself or feeling like you're doing something wrong, simply notice that you've caught yourself in thought. And now that you've caught yourself, you're no longer stuck. And you can just bring your attention back to your breathing again. And you can do that as many times as it happens. Allow your focus to now shift to feeling where your body touches the ground or the chair, feeling where your body makes contact, feeling where your body is supported. See if you can notice the textures of your clothing on your skin, the air on your skin. Is it cold? Is it warm? Notice sound. Notice sound inside your space and maybe outside. Noticing all these little things to bring yourself back into your space, to this moment right here. If your eyes were closed, maybe you start to blink them open, even more coming back into this space, transitioning out of your meditative practice. Any movement that feels like it needs or wants to happen, find some movement. To close, bring one hand to your heart, maybe both hands. Thank yourself for creating this time for mindful movement. We're starting a conversation of listening to your needs, your wants. You might even internally say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If your hands or at your heart space. You can rest your hands now. Thank you for joining me.